Fantastic. Right, let's cut to the chase, alright? I've got some final thoughts on this, and we do need to bring back up the webcam, as you can now see. So, throughout the series, I've done things a little bit differently. I focused more on gameplay, for a start, by removing the webcam from majority of the game scenes, because I figured you're there to do gameplay, and if I have a reaction to it, then I'll throw it up on the screen, which I've done at certain points, so where I've talked about the game at certain intermissions, which I hope you guys like. I think it breathes a little bit of new flavour into doing playthrough videos instead of just someone sits down, plays the game. No, you're going to get me, and you're going to experience what I would assume would be a Twitch stream, but not in the way of the gameplay. Right, so Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Thoughts? The realistic difficulty, it's a great addition. Actually, I really enjoyed having no harder elements in the way, sort of distracting from anything. The downside is the game is built not with that in mind. You can definitely tell, because things like grenades getting thrown at you is only alerted to by the fact that you can hold to pick it up, whereas you don't have the grenade indicator, which lets you know that there's a grenade nearby. Now, I did notice myself listening more for grenades getting landed next to me and stuff like that, which is good. You do sort of get used to it, I guess, so I'm sort of iffy on the grenades thing. The welcome addition was that there wasn't a lot of grenades thrown, which means I guess they've moved away from that part of the AI and making it hard, which is, oh, just throw a bunch of grenades at the guy, which, okay, whatever. I'm going to go back to the campaign menu, that way we can have a good theme song when we talk about this. So the realistic difficulty, not too bad. I actually enjoyed it, a lot easier than veteran and stuff like that in the previous Call of Duties. I think we finished this game like in a bit of record timing. I would say maybe around 5 or 4 hours, if I had to count it all. What's next? The AI. The AI in this game is atrocious. 100% atrocious, because your teammates are not of the same caliber as the enemy. So when you're when the enemy is just walking through all of your teammates, walking around the corner and just shooting you in the face in 2 hits, that is so disorientating, and it is terrible for gameplay. I don't care if my AI could play the entire game and finish it without me. I don't care. I just want me to feel as if I'm in a squad of people that's actually good. I don't feel like that. I feel as if I'm the god warrior soldier that has to do absolutely everything, which shouldn't happen in a game which focuses so heavily on task forces and team building like this. Third, I really hope that they do continue the sort of campaign. It's a little bit, it's a little shit, I want to say, because they went back and they remastered Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but they released Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, so it's like you've got these 2 storylines where obviously this takes place before Call of Duty 4, because we get mentions to Zakhaev and Macmillan and Soap and Gas and other characters and whatever. So they're recasting characters and they're redoing that storyline, which means that they need to keep this going forward. If they just bring out another Call of Duty and completely chop the storyline off, that's bad. I don't like that. I want them to keep it going. Otherwise, missions like what is it? Let's see. Hometown in the Wolf's Den. No, maybe it's Captive. The missions where you're Kareem, but you're like a teenager or you're like a child, would make no sense unless they were trying to build story building, which is why I get why they killed off Alex, because you can't kill Kareem because you want to bring her back in the next game. That's what I assume they're going to do. Will they do it? We'll just need to wait and see, because Activision called the shots, and right now Warzone is where all the attention gets put into it. Now, in terms of fixes, I will say that I'm quite glad that I did replay this, because when I did play it the first time, there was a lot of bugs, like visual bugs. I would go in, maps were like bright light when it was in night vision mode and stuff like that. That's all been fixed, so the campaign's definitely playable now. Definitely in a better state than it was when it first released, so I'm glad for that. I'm just very conscious of time, because this has ran over an hour and I'm just scared of hard drive space. What else? Multiplayer elements is all fine. I've not got touched on anything like that. Warzone, again, like, I get what they're trying to do by bringing characters like Ghost into Warzone, but we haven't even seen Ghost yet. Ghost isn't even in the campaign. He's just like, if you know what I mean. There's a massive disconnect between their old games and their current games. If you take your old games and you remaster them and you like scrap a ton of the canon, a ton of the lore, and then redo it, why would you then bring those characters from the old games into your current games, or the old maps into your current game? Like, if you're trying to scrap it all and redo it, surely you would like redo it properly instead of just, oh yeah, name drop characters like Soap, Gaz, Ghost, Simon Riley, and then bring them into multiplayer but not introduce them in the campaign. People that haven't played Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty 4, things like that, and they're just coming into this game, are going to be seriously confused because they don't know who Ghost is. The campaign didn't mention it. This is what happens when you like base a game just off a game. So if I was a newcomer into gaming, I'm 15 or 16, my very first Call of Duty, I'm picking up Modern Warfare because everyone's talking about it, I get into the campaign, I play it all. This is what I did when I was a kid. When I was 15 or 16, I was playing the campaign first, then the multiplayer. One, the campaign gives you map knowledge of the multiplayer maps, because more often than not, the campaign maps turn into multiplayer maps with a few little changes. And number two, you get to learn about the characters, the lore, the guns, and get recoil patterns and stuff like that fixed. Doesn't happen if your multiplayer is completely segmented and isn't the same as the campaign, which it isn't. It really isn't. I know I keep looking over here because this is where my webcam is. If I move my webcam over to the camera, I might look at the camera a little bit more. But yeah, like that. So yeah, I don't know. It was good campaign. I can't really complain about it. It was just unnecessarily difficult via cheesy mechanics such as AI being terrible and like invulnerable enemies. There was parts where, like, if you had a sniper on top of a roof, that sniper couldn't die unless you walked up to it, because then the enemy spawned and you could kill it, and then the sniper would die. That was a scripted sort of thing that was there. There was a few times where you could get an RPG and blow it up, and then it would be okay. But again, we tried with the grenade launcher on the last bit, it didn't work. And then with the MG nests, you couldn't shoot them. You had to work your way around them or blow them up. Like the old Call of Duties, I think, did those better, where if you were fast enough, you could take them out. That's what I did in Call of Duty 5, on like certain missions where there was MG nests. You just shot the MG gunner because you could. I'm sorry, but that should be possible. So other than nitpicking, I don't have that many complaints. I think it's a solid campaign. I think it does it justice to play it on a low difficulty. I don't think playing it on realism is a good idea for your first attempt, because we've seen with the last mission that I just did, that took about an hour to do, and that was purely because the AI just snapshots to you and kills you in 1 to 2 hits, which isn't fun. I mean, that's the thing. The campaign's good. I do like the weapons that you get and the missions that you do with the helicopter gunner and the big sniper rifle that blows people up. That's great. But when it comes to difficulty, I'm going to keep coming back to this and back to this and back to this. It's a boring difficulty level when you should be able to... Your Call of Duty, you might be the god guy. Like, if you can't rely on your team and then all you can do is basically hide, shoot 2 people, get shot twice and die, that's not... It isn't good. It's just boring. It is, because if the game isn't hard in the correct places, like you should have a hard enemy or like a hard section of a map, but really it's just endless enemies coming forward to you. You can't shoot them because there's way too many of them, and then if you do manage to shoot a few, it's like almost RNG, where your AI eventually helps you enough and kills the guy coming behind you. It's just there's too much randomness, too much artificial difficulty. The AI is too good for its own being, and yours just isn't. I think it could be a lot better if your teammates actually locked down positions with you and pushed up, rather than relying on you always pushing up. Because the way Call of Duty games have always worked, and it's quite sad, is that the mission doesn't progress unless you go to a certain point in the map. So let's say you have a big long road and you're here and the enemy is over here. If you then cross paths with that enemy and like push up past them, even if they're still alive, your AI will then start, your AI from the over here will then start pushing up, and then they'll kill them. And that's the way it's always been. And it's not a fun setting. It's 2020 now, but this was 2019, and they still fall into the same traps. Maps looked amazing. The night vision modes were stunning. These stealth modes were stunning. I think this game would have been a lot better if it just focused heavily on those stealth elements, which it did in like 3 missions, which was good, but the game is so short that having those stealth elements is quite a luxury compared to all the other stuff, because those stealth elements put you in the boots of being quite godlike, and it feels good, whereas everything else is just hiding, and you stand no chance against a massive Russian army, which in real life you wouldn't. This wouldn't be possible. And it shows needing 10 or 12 attempts to get to the end of the mission. I'd give the campaign a 7 out of 10. If there was AI improvements, it would definitely make it a 10 out of 10. It's just there's just too much stuff to really hate and criticize on. Price, for example, looks like Santa. I can't really get over that. How like he's just got a massive face with his massive beard, and it's like wherever he smiles, it all just sort of smooshes together, a bit like Santa. Yeah, I hope to bring another one and they continue on the story. It'd be a shame if they didn't. I assume Activision will be bundling all of its money into Warzone, and seeing how Treyarch is the next Call of Duty, which I assume will be this year actually. Okay, we should have some reviews on that soon. We'll be interested to see where the series goes, especially from Treyarch, because they've been, in my opinion, they've been floundering ever since. Like, I've not enjoyed a Treyarch game since Black Ops 2, maybe, and that was solely for the multiplayer, which was really good, but the campaigns were god awful. Black Ops just to me sounded like someone trying to do World at War but sort of failing, I guess. You know, throw in some iconic characters and maybe you'll get somewhere, but I wasn't a fan of it. I know other people are, that's fine. Black Ops 4 didn't even have a campaign if I remember right, which I am not a fan of. Games doing that, please stop. But yeah, that's where I'll leave it. Let me know what you guys want to see next. The next series I plan on doing is Call of Duty 4 Remastered. That was on sale for £6. If you get the Infinite Warfare Digital Deluxe upgrade for £6 just now, it'll give you the Call of Duty 4 Remastered, so I figured we'll do that one next. But yeah, any other content you guys want to see, let me know. This has been Sean from SwitchedBit. Yeah, this has been Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 on Realistic. Not a bad game.